It's Press Pass with Jack Ebling, Mid-Michigan's spirited sports debate. Now let's get talking sports. Here's Jack.
Great evening, Mid-Michigan and beyond, and welcome to Press Pass on Fox 47. Michigan State got a football upset almost no one would have predicted 17 days ago. Michigan romped over a different Rocky Lombardi-led visitor. Penn State and Alabama escaped to stay unbeaten, and the Lions will play the Packers tomorrow in the second week of Monday Night Football. To talk about that and more is Team 416. Rico Beard, longtime Detroit radio and TV personality, recruiting insider, and co-host of The Valenti Show with Rico on 97.1 The Ticket. How you doing, Rico?
Jack, I'm doing great. I mean, I think probably only Mel Tucker and the 85 scholarship guys are feeling better after going to Miami and not only winning, but my goodness, man, they put the cherry on top with a couple strawberries and threw in a couple blueberries as well. 38-17 and no turnover chain. They could have actually went over and stole the turnover chain because they had 4, Miami had none.
Well, it's 118 points in 3 games. And guys, that was a whole season's worth for this offense a year ago. Lots of different things, but you can say that across the Big Ten, and we'll talk more about that later. Also want to welcome Graham Couch. He's a sports and more columnist for the Lansing State Journal. He's an avid hooper, and he is co-host of Couch in the Rube on the Spotlight Radio Network. How are you, Graham?
I'm doing well. It looks like it's going to be a very interesting football season in East Lansing. It's fun to see. It's been a while since Michigan State fans have had a season like this to sort of deal with their emotions. And, tonight they get a basketball recruit. The football team's 3-0. It's almost like balancing all of it is too much.
Sometimes maybe it's better to have lower expectations, and then you can be pleasantly surprised. And maybe guys play a little differently too when the collar doesn't get tight. But Mel Tucker's guys yesterday took command of that game early and finished strong. And if you had seen the way the sun was at Hard Rock Stadium, Miami was in the shade the whole game, and it didn't seem to matter. They had those water fans going behind the bench, and Michigan State responded very well. So conditioning, training, preparation, it all paid off. We will be back in just a couple minutes, and we're going to break down the Michigan State win over Miami yesterday. We'll talk about Michigan and the romp over Northern Illinois, other Big Ten and national action, and the NFL. We'll talk about the Lions getting ready for Monday Night Football next on Press Pass.
The NFL is back, and DraftKings' latest offer is a sure thing. So we got former automatic NFL kicker Martin Gramatica to break it down. Martin?
Bet just $1 on any NFL game, get $200 Automatica, no matter what.
That is Automatica, Martin Gramatica.
It's no stressy, Jesse.
Download the app, sign up with the promo code. Bet $1 to get $200 automatically, and make it rain with an official sports betting partner of the NFL.
The other big story this year? Your heart. During the pandemic, death from heart attacks doubled. At Henry Ford, we're all for making heart health the headline again. Find out your own heart risk by taking our Get Heart Smart Quiz.
نحن جيرانكم.
Somos tu familia.
We're your friends.
I am a Michigan State trooper.
I am a Michigan State trooper.
I am a Michigan State trooper.
If you're looking for a career you can be proud of.
If you're looking to make a difference.
The Michigan State Police need people like you.
Do you have what it takes to change your community, to change your career, to change your life? Contact the Michigan State Police today to find out more.
Forgiven.
$1 large fries are waiting for you. Get this deal now, only in the McDonald's app.
Call it a sense of purpose, a higher calling.
At Dean Transportation, we call it our passion. It's simply who we are. 60 years of pioneering the best health and safety standards because safe student transportation is essential. We are hard-working folks, connecting children to learning, schools to our communities, and you to a better career. Want to make Mid-Michigan a better place? We'll put you in the driver's seat. Join the Dean family today and help to connect our kids to brighter futures.
Fox 47 puts more in your morning with more reporters in your neighborhood to bring you more local news. No matter how you start your day, Fox 47 has the most local news in the morning so you can stay in the know and get out the door. More reporters, more local news, and one more thing, less commercials. Fox 47 Morning News with Michaela Temple, weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m.
Welcome back to Press Pass here on Fox 47. It's time for our Going Green segment, brought to you by Graf Chevrolet and Graf Nissan on West Grand River in Okemos. With 107 years in the automobile business, they'll take great care of you, as they have on all 7 of my leases and purchases. For a new or used vehicle, go green, go Graf.
One ball. Hey, can we take him into the thing?
There you see Mel Tucker and his players celebrating yesterday in Miami. And very, very happy, as you would expect. Graham, Spartans look like the better team for most of yesterday's game and had a terrific fourth quarter. What does it say that they produced 4 times as many takeaways in Hard Rock Stadium as they did in their first 2 wins? And how important was it to keep Miami's trademark turnover chain in its crate the entire game?
Well, those turnovers were needed in this game. They could beat Northwestern. They were the better team, clearly. Obviously, Youngstown State. In this game, I don't know that they win without the turnovers. It shows the defense is opportunistic, and they played with a cushion on the edges. There are some vulnerabilities there. They've also got some talent. Linebacker, Quavarius Crouch, obviously, what you're seeing from Xavier Henderson is big-time stuff. The defensive line doesn't give in, and they're persistent, is the best way maybe to put it. But when you become an opportunistic defense, that sometimes feeds on itself week over week. And then on the other side of the ball, frankly, the way that Peyton Thorne is taking care of them. I mean, we saw him do that again with teams that they were better than. But when the competition level steps up and you've got to make decisions under duress, and he threw 1 ball that should have been picked, but that's 9 touchdowns, 0 interceptions on the year. You keep doing that. That's how you play for things that are important in November.
Rico, you and Graham were not sweating in South Florida, but roughly 10,000 MSU fans were, and they were pretty loud before, during, and after the game. Even the van driver was beeping his horn and seemed like taunting some Hurricanes on the way out of the parking lot. But there was another familiar sighting, a Michigan fan who looked miserable when the Spartans started to pull away. Were you shocked to see a flashback to 2015 and a surrender Cobra move at a different U of M?
Jack, I had to rewind the television set to make sure. Did I just see what I saw? Like, how big of a loser are you to go to your rival's game wearing your gear? I guess he was expecting Michigan State to lose. You know what? Good for you. I'm glad the TV caught you, so you can't deny that you weren't there. It was trolling at its best, but it backfired. This kid's a loser. There's really no other way to put it.
Graham, MSU finally beat Miami, first time in the series, after 4 losses over many decades. And that 3-touchdown thrashing led to cries for Manny Diaz's immediate firing as the Hurricanes head coach. Maybe a little takeoff on what happened at USC. Could you see a leadership difference, demeanor on the sidelines, etc., that a lot of us saw on that sweltering Saturday?
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, I don't follow that program day in and day out, but happiness is relative to expectations, right? And Miami entered this season with a Vegas over-under wins projection of 9.5. Michigan State at 4.5. And so Miami is not playing to the level people thought. And Michigan State, that's why people are so happy. When you come in with low expectations or modest expectations, you get to enjoy the small victories and the rise. This is going to be one of the years I think MSU fans are going to get to enjoy more than most seasons, just because every small victory is going to be fun.
And we have seen some basketball seasons like that too, where they take you by surprise and you just enjoy the ride instead of the pressure of the journey to get to the top. Rico, I want to take another look at the Spartans' schedule at the end of the first quarter of play this season. Could the Vegas over-under 4.5 be a settled bet by mid-October? And when do you see the Spartans losing their first game?
I think the Vegas over-under 4.5, Jack, can be done by probably midnight, the October 3rd against Western Kentucky. Their first loss, I mean, I said if they beat this team and they beat the Hurricanes, when you look at that schedule, they should be competitive with every team on that schedule, but probably you're looking at maybe Ohio State. But after what I saw, Jack, Ohio State's beatable. It's not to say that State can do it, but, man, they're beatable. If they play the way that they did against Miami, it can be done.
Graham, are you ready for a Michigan State game with two undefeated teams?
It would be amazing if that sort of crescendo for both programs and they meet like that. I will say this though: Rutgers is very much improved. Yes. Indiana, we'll see if they're dead yet. There are still some pitfalls. Michigan State's capable of losing to these people, but they got a shot. They do have a shot.
Hey, and Nebraska gave Oklahoma all it wanted too. So Michigan State needs to show up. We'll be right back talking Michigan next.
Yo soy Roxy Diaz.
Soy Aaron Sanchez.
Y yo soy puertorriqueña.
I proudly identify as Mexican.
Ecuatoriana.
And together,
we are Latinx.
But I can guarantee you a wonderful time.
I like that confidence.
Latinx isn't the story of one country, one culture, or one heritage.
We carry the diversity of La Gente as a badge of honor. I'm offering you an opportunity to be brave.
Latinx is multidimensional.
We are breaking through barriers while honoring our music, our ancestors,
our customs, our communities,
our heroes,
and our accomplishments.
We embrace our beautiful skin.
Los sueños grandes, our rhythm.
Incredible.
The power of our voices and pasión en nuestra comida.
We are 1/5
of America.
And together, we celebrate our unique perspectives, traditions, pride, and stories.
It's kind of beautiful, actually.
We pay homage to our Latinx family and Hispanic familia.
Our mothers, fathers,
sons and daughters, and the generation yet to come.
Latinx.
Juntos triunfamos.
Together we triumph. TV for all.
911 season premiere this Monday on Fox.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Enjoy our delicious 2 for $5 select breakfast sandwiches. Bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit, sausage McMuffin with egg, and egg McMuffin. Breakfast just got a whole lot better.
First, there was Vegas, then Atlantic City. Now, your pocket. DraftKings has an online casino where you can play your favorite games whenever and wherever you want. Slots, blackjack, live dealer games, and more. New casino players can get a deposit bonus up to $2,000 plus free casino credits. Download the app or visit us online. Try DraftKings Casino today with our exclusive offer and experience the casino floor like never before.
Welcome back to Press Pass here on Fox 47. It's time for our Out of the Blue segment, talking Michigan Wolverines. Brought to you by nobody.
1, 2. You know what to do.
Hail to the victors, and hail to the conquering heroes, and hail to Michigan, the leaders and best. Hail to the victors, and hail to the conquering heroes, hail, hail to Michigan, the champions of the West. Go Blue!
Good question for you. Who's got it better than us?
Nobody!
Rico, the Wolverines sing well enough, but when Jim Harbaugh asks again, who's got it better than us, you tempted to send him a list of the last 16 Big Ten champs, maybe some scores from Wolverines games against Ohio State since 2004, maybe some MSU outcomes beginning in 2008, or how about a list of head coaching salaries in this league?
Or, the last time that Michigan actually won a road game against a top 25 team. I bet you guys don't even know, Jack, and you're the historian. Got to go back to 2006, Notre Dame. Yeah. Who's got it better than us? You know what I would do? I would just send him some information from the Chamber of Commerce of Indianapolis and say, hey, by the way, there's a 13th week of the Big Ten, but it's a special thing. It's invite only, and you guys haven't ever been invited. I can't believe they're still saying that stupid saying, but you know what? Actually, I can. That's Michigan arrogance at its best.
Graham, the Wolverines evened their record against Rocky Lombardi-led teams at 1-1 yesterday. As we look at the scores by quarter for this game, what else did we learn?
Well, they're a lot better than Northern Illinois. And look, the other thing, you don't want to be a MAC school that shows up and has a team that's motivated. Like having Rocky Lombardi on that roster was not helpful for Northern Illinois yesterday. And we learned that Michigan's focus. Look, Michigan has done well with everything that's been in front of them. They beat a Western Michigan team that's going to be competitive in that league, and they beat them soundly. They beat a very limited Washington team that wore out because its offense can't do anything, that's defense wore out, and then they took care of Northern Illinois. And so they've done everything that they're supposed to do, and they've looked impressive doing it. Again, what Michigan State did yesterday is what we haven't seen from Michigan yet. When you get some pressure, when you get under duress, when you have to make decisions when it's uncomfortable, what happens then? And we haven't seen that yet from Michigan, so that's what we still have to learn.
Rico, U of M scored touchdowns on its first 9 possessions. And don't think I've seen that before. Faced an even more toothless species of Huskies than they did 7 days earlier. Are you prepared to say the Wolverines have the best rushing attack in the conference with Blake Corum, Hassan Haskins, Donovan Edwards, and all these wideouts on jet sweeps?
Jack, they may have, they may have the best 1-2 punch. I mean, I like the way that they can mix up Corum with Hassan Haskins. That, because football is all about injuries. If one goes down, their season's not going to go out the door. They got a capable backup who could come in there and get it done. So I like that. I don't know what defenses they've gone up against, but you know what? You only play the teams on your schedule, and right now that running back room looks very good for them.
Graham, can we say that U of M should definitely pass the 7.5 over-under win total at Vegas set? And looking at the schedule, when do the Wolverines lose their first game this year?
It's a good question. Yeah, I thought they would before the year. I thought the schedule was more favorable for them. They play one more home game than Michigan State, which is important to remember. Indiana is not looking like they were last year. Northwestern obviously is on that schedule still. At Maryland, they should win. So, it's a good question. I don't know when they'll lose, but I mean, I don't think, I think Michigan we're going to find out, and probably Michigan State has some of this too, is capable of winning against just about everybody on its schedule. We'll see what Ohio State becomes at the end, but they're also capable of losing to about 4 or 5 teams on that schedule. So what do they do in those games? And that's really what Michigan State now has played one of those teams and won. Michigan hasn't played any.
Graham, I'm going to help you out. October 2nd. There you go.
Okay.
At Wisconsin. Don't know whether it's tougher to play Ohio State at home or Penn State on the road. We'll be right back.
Don't live a common life. March to a different beat. Dance your own dance. Be bold. Be purposeful. Stand up for what's right. You're here for a reason. So use your God-given gifts to serve your neighbors, because you know that all people deserve dignity and love. When you live life like that, it's uncommon. Concordia University, Ann Arbor. Live uncommon.
Forgiven.
$1 large fries are waiting for you. Get this deal now, only in the McDonald's app.
Fall is here, and at American Metal Roofs, our schedule's getting tight. To get your new roof before winter, you must order now. This month, you'll save up to $7,500. Call 844-METAL-ROOFs today and visit
AmericanMetalRoofs.com. Catch Live with Kelly and Ryan weekdays at 9 right after Fox 47 Morning News.
Call it a sense of purpose, a higher calling. At Dean Transportation, we call it our passion. It's simply who we are. 60 years of pioneering the best health and safety standards because safe student transportation is essential. We are hard-working folks, connecting children to learning, schools to our communities, and you to a better career. Want to make Mid-Michigan a better place? We'll put you in the driver's seat. Join the Dean family today and help to connect our kids to brighter futures.
Whoa. Some of these concepts are pure gold.
All these people getting their lives turned upside down.
That's power for you.
This is like ultra next level. I am in this with you till the end.
Hang out here with us for a while.
That was great.
Hot dog. All this and more every week on Fox.
Welcome back to Press Pass here on Fox 47. It's time for The Big Picture, brought to you by Dean Transportation. Dean is hiring caring and dependable people as school bus drivers in many Michigan markets. Be a hero in your community and safely transport children to and from school with Dean. For more information and to apply, visit deantransportation.com/jobs. That's deantransportation.com/jobs.
First and goal for the Terps. Catch for Fleet Davis. Spins away. Fleet Davis to the end zone. Touchdown, Maryland. What a drive. What a finish. And the Terps are an extra point from tying this game.
Touchdown pass. Graham, for a while, it looked like Illinois might go to 2-0 in league play and be the worst Big Ten division leader I can remember. Instead, Maryland rallied and got those two late scores and showed what can happen when you have a healthy Tagovailoa at quarterback. When you look at Maryland, maybe Rutgers, we're all talking about Michigan and Michigan State. Could it be that there's another surprise in the Big Ten?
I certainly think a team like Rutgers is on the ascend, like Michigan State, and maybe at a similar pace, although Michigan State's surprised me with how good they've looked. So I think Rutgers is a team to watch. I absolutely. But, Maryland, we'll see. It'll take me a while to believe in Maryland. Yeah. We've seen them start out of the gate with some major point production in other years and just fall off a cliff. So I want to, we'll see.
Rico, let's take a look at all of the conference's games this weekend, and 13 teams in action. Wisconsin not playing, but who had the best win and which team suffered the worst defeat?
Well, Jack, you know what? As much as I'd like to say Michigan State had the best win, you got to go to Penn State. Even though the game was at home, you beat a team from the SEC. You beat Auburn. I mean, it wasn't Vandy in there. That was Auburn. That was a team that is a formidable foe. You got it done. You made the right plays at the end. So I'm probably looking at Penn State had the best victory. Worst victory of the group, probably Indiana. This was a chance for them to really make a statement that they were not that far off. But, man, Cincinnati comes in there. Indiana gets it close, and then Cincinnati takes the ensuing kickoff back for a touchdown.
Yeah.
And then, they never win that. Michael Penix Jr. does not look like the same guy from last year.
Not at all. And I talked to some people who said Northwestern had a pratfall against Michigan State, but it would bounce back. The schedule looked favorable. Instead, it's It's way behind against Duke. It rallied to make it look a little more respectable, but not a good outing for Pat Fitzgerald's team. When you look at this now and you see where this conference is, Graham, the Big Ten still has 6 unbeaten teams, 5 of them playing in the East Division, and Ohio State isn't one of them. But if you look at these 6 teams, they're combined 18-0 this year. And last year, those same 6 teams were 19-25. Why the amazing turnaround?
Well, some of it was the COVID year, and I think a lot of people deserve a pass. Things, spiraled a little bit. You look at Penn State, certainly in the year that they had. Rutgers, I think, is on the ascend, just like Michigan State. New coach first year last year, and guys were getting it done. Michigan had just a nightmare of a year. You see that, and then and Iowa got off to a rough start last year, but they look maybe like the best team in the league right now.
Yeah, and what they did after they lost the first 2, they got a pretty good streak going now. You talk about 9 straight. Rico, let's take a look at next weekend's games and which of these matchups will tell us the most. Here you see the standings, and you see where these teams are right now, and all the teams that are tied at the top. Michigan State, Penn State, and Maryland, all 3-0, and Ohio State also 1-0 in the conference, so 4 teams there, but in the West, not so much.
Jack, I'm looking forward to that
for next weekend.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm looking forward to that Michigan to Rutgers game, their first taste of Big Ten action, to kind of see what they can do against a step up. They're not playing a MAC team anymore. They're playing, a Power 5 team, because I don't know if I can include Washington as Power 5.
Yeah, and I think back to Michigan's loss to Rutgers back in 2014, and that was
Did Michigan lose to Rutgers in 2014? Yeah, I forgot about that.
How surprised would you be if Rutgers won that game this weekend?
I would be surprised, because I don't know. Rutgers has kind of like Mel Tucker with the transfer portal. Greg Schiano did the same thing last year. The defense, I think, is going to be a step above, but I don't know if their offense can match Michigan's point for point. So I would be shocked, Jack. It would be a surprise.
Graham, is there a game there you're really looking forward to seeing?
Well, I do want to see. Notre Dame's not as great, but I want to see if Wisconsin's going to get off the mat and be a really solid team this year or not. I think this week we'll learn a lot.
Yeah, and what you see with Wisconsin might tell you about the next week when it hosts Michigan. We'll be right back with more.
Call it a sense of purpose, a higher calling. At Dean Transportation, we call it our passion. It's simply who we are. 60 years of pioneering the best health and safety standards, because safe student transportation is essential. We are hard-working folks, connecting children to learning, schools to our communities, and you to a better career. Want to make Mid-Michigan a better place? We'll put you in the driver's seat. Join the Dean family today and help to connect our kids to brighter futures.
Some of these concepts are pure gold.
Unlimited possibilities.
It's a dance reality show. I'm going to audition.
All these people are going to have their lives turned upside down.
Gotta secure the crown. That's power for you.
This is like ultra next level.
Good music is good music.
Sounds like you could use some extra hands. Just tell us where you want us.
That's amazing.
This season has more surprises than Ken has sparkly jackets.
I love her.
Yeah, me too.
We have breaking news.
She's a disruptor.
Thought I knew what to expect. It's mind-blowing.
That was great.
This is a lot harder than I thought it would be.
I am in this with you till the end.
You go, girl.
All this and more every week on Fox.
Don't miss the Masked Singer 2-night premiere event. It all begins Wednesday on Fox.
Boy, have we hit a nerve by exposing the pig barn roofing scam. Tempers are flaring, so I want to clear up a couple of things.
Frank Farmer, president of American Metal Roofs.
First of all, what I'm talking about has nothing to do with metal roofs on barns. American farmers have been using metal roofing on barns for generations, and rightly so. What I'm talking about is the use of roofing products designed for barns being installed on houses. Barns and houses are two vastly different applications. Homeowners are being sold on the idea that less expensive, thinner barn roofing panels are approved for use on homes. Contractors use these less expensive materials to undercut the cost of quality American metal roofs, but they don't explain the critical product differences to the homeowner. Barn roofs on barns, absolutely. Barn roofs on houses, a disaster waiting to happen.
Right now, it's American Metal Roofs Fall Installed Metal Roof Sale. Save up to $7,500. But hurry, call 844-638-2576 or visit
Welcome back to Press Pass here on Fox 47. It's time for our Take It to the Bank segment, brought to you by Dart Bank, dedicated to meeting the needs of our banking community for more than 90 years, with 4 convenient locations in Mason, Holton South Lansing, Grand Ledge, and the expanded Home Loan Center in Frandor. That's Dart Bank for what matters most. There you see the story of the game of the week, Alabama and Florida, and those are teams that could meet again in the SEC championship game. Don't tell Georgia about that. But Rico, the Gators almost got it done. They fell way behind and wouldn't quit. Missed a point after kick and then a 2-point try that would have tied it. Are you still convinced that Alabama will be playing in the season's last game, even if it isn't quite as good as some of the Nick Saban teams we're used to?
Yeah, Jack. I mean, because when you look at Alabama, they are just still head and shoulders above the crowd. Now, I think this is the game that Nick Saban needed to get his team refocused. And so they realized that things won't become so easy because they were just rolling through. They had replaced all of these NFL players, and it was too easy for them. Now, Saban can go in there and say, guys, we need to tighten this thing up. And then when you look at the rest of college football, there's no team that stands out. I think that their next test is going to be Georgia in the SEC championship game. You know, Oklahoma doesn't look that great. Clemson's already got a loss. They lost to Georgia. So, yeah, to answer your question, I think Bama's still going to be the best team.
Graham, who else could get him in the SEC? Texas A&M maybe have a shot?
A&M perhaps, and I think this is a great year. This is what we want. We want the chaos that points out the absurdity of a 4-team playoff and really forces the hand to go to 12, where it just looks like, wait a sec, we don't even know among these top 4. There might be 4 others who are just as good. I'm rooting for that. That's what I want. And I love this year because all of a sudden, when we think we know everything, when we assume it's going to be 3 or 4 teams every year, you get a year like this.
Graham, you've often kept basketball teams off your early season AP ballot because they haven't played a true road game. In football, we have Michigan won't be doing that until October 2nd when it's in Camp Randall Stadium. And the Badgers won't be wearing white until October 9th. But I want to take a look at the only 4 Power 5 teams to have 2 road wins at this point of the season. And only one of those teams has been an underdog in both of its wins. What does it say that Michigan State has a couple of road upsets and that this is a very small club?
Yeah, it says that teams don't usually turn it around. First of all, Power 5 teams don't usually play on the road is twice in the non-conference or this early. I guess Northwestern's a conference foe. And it also says that, you know, rarely do you find teams that relative to expectations are just a lot better than people thought they were going to be. And that's what Michigan State is. I think we all had some inkling with the number of transfers and that they at least might be more competitive. The 4.5 win line that Vegas set was low, but I don't think any of us knew they were going to look this good. That's what's made it interesting.
Rico, the new AP Top 25 has Michigan at 19, Michigan State at 20, the Spartans 21 in the coaches poll, but that's each 2 spots lower than they were on my ballot this morning. Did the voters get that right? And which team in the AP Top 10 would you move up or move down from where they landed?
No, as far as the Michigan State thing, no. Okay, Jack, no, they didn't. Okay, Michigan's, I can't believe I'm about to quote Graham, but they haven't left Ann Arbor. So therefore, yeah, you won, but to win on the road, it means a little something more, especially in football. Probably the team that I would move up a little bit more, believe it or not. I can't believe I'm saying this either. Is Penn State beating Auburn. I mean, James Franklin just keeps getting it done. And I mean, heck, we'll see what happens when he's out at USC next year.
Yeah, I'm hearing James Franklin and Bob Stoops are the top two candidates for that job. That would be interesting. And the question then becomes, does James Franklin want to take that job? And would you go with him, Rico?
He'll take the job. I mean, he's the type that eventually he gets caught up as being just the fraud that he is, and he'll move on. He'll go to USC, and then it'll take them a couple years to figure it out.
Graham, taking a look at the upcoming week, we only have 3 games coming up with ranked teams meeting. How do you see those games playing out?
Yeah, I'm really curious what Wisconsin's going to do. I like A&M in this game, and the Rutgers-Michigan game, though, that's a game I'm very curious to see what Michigan can do. Can they run the football? As Rico said earlier, I don't know if Rutgers can keep pace, but we're going to find out a lot about this Michigan team. Are they for real? Can they impose their will? Can they, and those are important things to learn going forward.
You think Cade McNamara will still be the quarterback, Graham, when they play Michigan State?
That's a great question. I don't know. I would say yes. I think he's a decent quarterback, but obviously that people like they like the freshman.
Yeah,
that's always the way it is.
Yeah. Nobody eats their own quite like Michigan, though. He makes one mistake, he's gone.
We'll be right back. We're going to look at the Lions up next.
At the David Chapman Agency, it's our knowledge and expertise that make insuring home, auto, and farm easy for you. Experience the benefit of a local agent who cares about you with the David Chapman Agency and Auto Owners Insurance. Visit davidchapmanagency.com.
You Pull and Save wants your vehicle. Any model, any year, any condition. To get a quote, call 855-785-7278. We pay top dollar and have towing and pickup available. Or submit a quote online and schedule a pickup. Bring your title and license to one of our locations and put some cash in your pocket.
I'm Patrick with the Holton Dimedale Insurance Agency. Whether it's dairy, cash crop, cattle, or any other type of farm, we have you covered. With Auto Owners Insurance, we can cover all your farming needs. Call your hometown team today.
Dr. Leonard Hofstetter. Cool. Redefined.
Call it a sense of purpose, a higher calling. At Dean Transportation, we call it our passion. It's simply who we are. 60 years of pioneering the best health and safety standards because safe student transportation is essential. We are hard-working folks, connecting children to learning, schools to our communities, and you to a better career. Want to make Mid-Michigan a better place? We'll put you in the driver's seat. Join the Dean family today and help to connect our kids to brighter futures.
Our sisterhood is sacred, but few are chosen. I would be honored to be in this sisterhood. These families have money, mansions, power. My mama worked for one of them, but I have a secret that will expose them all. This membership has always been a dream. I think I'd be a great fit.
You keep that passion, you might make the cut.
We are Black excellence. We're two sides of the same coin. Two very different sides of the same coin. I'ma flip the world upside down! Gotta secure the crown. Let the new sisters bring some new energy. You're not a sister yet. Flip the world upside down! I'm taking what's mine. You are obsessed with getting in with these people.
That woman is a disruptor. Handle it.
Tonight's for you, Mama. Upside down!
Our Kind of People. Series premiere Tuesday on Fox.
Welcome back to Press Pass here on Fox 47. It's time for our Law of the Jungle segment, brought to you by Woody's Oasis on Trowbridge Road, your healthy alternative to fast food. Eat Woody's and live longer. Stop and see Chuck, Delita, and their terrific staff for the best in Mediterranean food. That's why I'm there every week.
little sweaty because of practice. A little glistening. Your boy has a TV show now. I guess people want to hear what the swag daddy thinks. You're lucky, because your boy only talks to himself. We probably gonna do this a couple of times. I'm not sure, but more than 5. I got you. See, look, I'm gonna keep you. Just know, more than 5. You're gonna get more than 5 Jamals. Why? They gonna just come up out of nowhere. Shop on.
Every time I watch that, I crack up, guys. Graham, no one can say that Jamal Williams lacks personality. But the Lions' new number 2 running back, can he get any measure of payback against his former team, the Green Bay Packers, who let him walk away when the Lions and Packers meet for Monday Night Football?
I think this is more up to the Packers. I think they looked awful last week, and Aaron Rodgers looked like a man who hadn't spent an offseason preparing. I don't think the Lions are very good. I think good teams are going to have their way with them, and this is in Lambeau Field. But if the Packers are truly a wreck, who knows? And that's what I'm curious about. And so I certainly wouldn't bet on either team right now.
Rico, I want to back up for just a minute. You were not on the panel last week, and the Lions mounted a furious rally. They were down 24, and they cut that margin to 8. And actually, in the last 3 minutes, did a lot of work, had a chance to tie your beloved 49ers. What's your take on Dan Campbell's debut as Detroit's head coach?
Okay, well, Jack, first of all, that game, 49ers were on the plane. They were ordering their meals. They were the first team was watching the other players that they left behind and was like, wait a minute, are we about to lose? Campbell's got a way to go. I don't think he has the players. It's going to be really hard to determine if he's a good coach because they just don't have the Jimmies and the Joes right now to really get this job done. I would say let's see what they do against Green Bay, but I think it's going to be similar. Now, they are playing for him. There was no quit. Like Matt Patricia in this first game, you saw quit. There was no quit. So I'll give him that. The players like him. They're willing to play for him.
Graham, I want to take a look at this series. And it used to play on Thanksgiving every year. But just looking at the last 10 games, the last 5 years with the Lions and the Packers, each team has had a 4-game winning streak, with Aaron Rodgers angry about Green Bay's effort in the opener against the Saints. How shocked would you be if Detroit left Lambeau Field a winner and dropped the Pack to 0-2?
Well, I'd be shocked mostly for the fact. I think the Packers we just don't know about. If that happens, that's a disaster. That thing's going to spiral. This is a big game for them. But if the Packers are somewhat close to what we thought they would be, I would be stunned because I do not think the Lions are the team that's going to win more than 3 or 4 football games, and they're certainly not going to win in Lambeau Field. Those teams that have won and have beaten the Packers, those 2017 teams, they've had some teams that were actually pretty good football teams. They are not right now. They're a long way from it.
So if something like this were to happen, what do you think the reaction would be, guys, in the state of Wisconsin? And the people who said Aaron Rodgers is no Brett Favre anyway, they'd be ready to drive him to the airport?
Yeah, I think at that point, Jack, if they lose to the Lions, the lowly Lions, because that's how people see them, only the Texans are worse off than them, then yeah, I think that they would be done with the whole Aaron Rodgers fiasco, not coming to training camp, doing the Jeopardy things, partying it up, and not really caring about his team. He would lose the fan base, and that's the worst thing that you can do.
All right, Rico, let's take a look at the NFC North division standings. And had an amazing game today that was in progress when we taped with the Vikings and the Cardinals, right? Do we have a final on that game?
Let me see.
We do.
We do.
That is
Arizona.
Cardinals
Arizona won 34-33.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we know the Vikings are 0-2. How strange was it, Rico, that 1 week ago we had 4 losing teams in the division and they were tied for first place?
I think you're looking at the new NFC East. That 7-8 wins is going to probably be your division winner, and you'll get to square up against one of the wild card teams from the NFC West.
All right, we'll be right back. We're going to talk some recruiting, basketball, and football.
Let MSU FCU drive down your payment with a low-rate auto loan. Enjoy flexible terms and rates as low as 1.99% APR. Visit msufcu.org to refinance today.
When you make a same-game parlay bet on FanDuel Sportsbook, you can make this, plus this, all add up to this. No way. This week, all customers can place any NFL same-game parlay bet risk-free. FanDuel, make every moment more.
I'm Jennifer Joseph. I'm an emergency medicine physician. I'm frustrated by the fact that this has become a partisan issue. As a conservative, I know that being vaccinated is the right thing and should not be politically driven. It's a personal decision, as with any medical decision. You should ask your doctor any question that you have and then make an informed decision as to what's best. My children are vaccinated. I would not have vaccinated them if I did not feel it was safe. It's your decision. Make the right decision. Get vaccinated for yourself and your own safety.
The MLB postseason begins this October on Fox.
Hi. One moment. We just had to get it out. Gabby is a very brave person who stopped dancing because life took her on a different journey with having Sam. You have the best day ever. Okay. We're both similar in the fact that she's having this amazing moment.
Sorry, a pandemic. I haven't been touched by a man in like a year.
Where she gets to try something huge and big, and I'm doing something huge and big by playing her.
This could change my whole life.
Working with Simone is the greatest. It's so much fun.
Please don't be dancing.
You and me.
You know what I love about Simone? She is so full of energy, so game to try anything.
Don't deliberately put me in a situation that undermines my self-esteem and then ask me why I have low self-esteem.
Fair point.
Gabby's felt very called to something, but at the same time, that calling has been in dissonance with dancers she sees around her.
She's also bringing plenty to the table, namely negative female stereotypes and lotion that smells like strawberries.
And she's got yeah. I wish I had a Gabby to look up to when I was a kid.
Nothing ends the way you think it's going to.
It's literally never too late to do something that's scary and different.
Welcome back to Press Pass here on Fox 47. It's time for our Tracking a Trophy segment, brought to you by The Ticket Machine at the corner of Mount Hope and Hagedorn. For the best in sports and entertainment ticketing, whenever those events resume, visit Brian and his terrific staff at theticketmachine.com. Gentlemen, the big news for Michigan State today was another basketball commitment. Jackson Kohler, and he's nicknamed Baby Jokic. That's a lot of pressure, only talking about the NBA MVP. Announced that he'll be signing with the Spartans. And we're talking about a guy who was largely unknown before he blew up this summer. Now, a lot of people think he's a top 40 talent. Kansas made him a priority. Iowa said, you're the next Luka Garza. He can do some incredibly creative things with the ball, especially with his footwork. Rico, what's your take on a player who just had 53 points and 23 rebounds in the Pangos tournament final?
I think it's a good pickup for Michigan State. I mean, they got in on him late, but I do think that it helped that he took his official visit during reunion weekend. So he got to sit and play pickup games with Draymond and with Gary Harris. He got to see, Miles Bridges and all of those guys that are in the NBA right now, Bryn Forbes, Denzel Valentine. They got to play with them. I think that made a huge impression, big enough to get him to come all the way from California to East Lansing. So he's somebody that kind of like you said, Kansas and everybody prioritized. MSU went full go after him. Izzo even made a visit out there earlier in the week, and it looks like Izzo landed his big fish.
Rico, what do you really like about his game, and what would concern you?
What I like about his game is, and Graham kind of touched upon it, he's a guy that I think that they could kind of mold into that Michigan State type of player with the toughness. He's not a one and done type of guy. I think he's going to be willing to listen and grow with this team. So, apparently, they say, I haven't seen a ton, but, he's that stretch 4 type of guy that could also go in and play some post. But yeah, I think the biggest thing is he's going to be a guy that's going to be around for a couple of years.
Graham, Kohler's announcement gives MSU 2 players in the class of 22, Trayvon Holloman and Jackson Kohler. But can you see how recruiting strategy is going to change now with the portal and the need to have maximum flexibility?
Sure. I think you want a couple roster spots open. I think a place like Michigan State, even though Izzo hates the portal, is going to benefit greatly from it, because it may not be quite Kansas, Kentucky, Duke in terms of what they get out of high school. But if you're a kid who's overachieved in a mid-major or at another program, the high major that's not winning, and you want to play for championships, Michigan State's going to be very attractive. And so I think I don't even worry about their classes anymore in terms of, oh, this kid decommitted, they only got 2 in this class in high school. I think in the portal, they'll be able to add 1 or 2, what they need based on need every year at the end of that season, pretty much. It's a whole new game, and Mel Tucker has done it well in football.
Rico, my buddy Eric Drummond and I had a chance to see Cedric Irvin Jr. Friday night, and seen here with his dad, who's also his position coach, and about a dozen other Division I prospects. Gulliver Prep played the Benjamin School up in West Palm, and said was exactly as advertised. But could Kenneth Walker III's success influence an early college decision? And he's talking as a junior about announcing his commitment on Wednesday.
Yeah, I think right now he's probably going to follow somebody that Cedric Sr. knows well. That's Bobby Williams, former Michigan State head coach, and head on out to Oregon. I think Kenneth Walker's turning some heads, but no, I think that he's probably looking to go out to Oregon with that relationship they have with Bobby Williams.
All right, we're going to bet a soda on this, Rico. I'm going to say either Notre Dame or Stanford. He might be on the West Coast, but a different school. We'll be right back.
Call it a sense of purpose, a higher calling. At Dean Transportation, we call it our passion. It's simply who we are. 60 years of pioneering the best health and safety standards, because safe student transportation is essential. We are hard-working folks, connecting children to learning, schools to our communities, and you to a better career. Want to make Mid-Michigan a better place? We'll put you in the driver's seat. Join the Dean family today and help to connect our kids to brighter futures.
Okay, people, nothing to eat here. Now move along. Let's roll. This one's yours, Ralphie. Release the hounds! Take the taser out of your pants. Freeze! How about a little Marge Madness? Like caramba!
Get behind the yellow line. Watch The Simpsons.
Catch up with The Simpsons, weeknights at 10 on My47.
The world's first Avatar singing competition, Alter Ego, Wednesday on Fox.
First, there was Vegas, then Atlantic City. Now, your pocket. DraftKings has an online casino where you can play your favorite games whenever and wherever you want. Slots, blackjack, live dealer games, and more. New casino players can get a deposit bonus up to $2,000 plus free casino credits. Download the app or visit us online. Try DraftKings Casino today with our exclusive offer and experience the casino floor like never before.
You're watching Fox 47's Family of Stations.
Welcome back to Press Pass here on Fox 47. It's time for a cool and smooth segment brought to you by 4 great Culver's locations in mid-Michigan. Okemos North and South, North Lansing, and West Lansing. Since 1984, Culver's has been delighting guests one meal at a time with scrumptious butter burgers and premium frozen custard. Swing through any Culver's drive-thru and grab your fresh favorites. That's Culver's. Welcome to Delicious.
Oh my gosh.
That wasn't the catch of the year in college football. I want to see the one that was. And Spencer Rattler, for one, couldn't believe it on the Oklahoma sideline. But we've seen some amazing catches, guys. And in Spartan Stadium, of course, there was Charles Woodson. And then Curtis Drummond had an amazing one. And even this year, Xavier Henderson, pretty spectacular grab. But I don't think any of them match that one. And congratulations to DJ Graham. Turns out that may have been a play that gave Oklahoma a win, a 7-point decision over Nebraska. All right, Team 416, who has been as cool and smooth as a Culver's mint explosion this week? Rico Beard, let's start with you in our play of the week.
Jack, at play of the week, I'm going to go down to Miami, and the play is just when you thought that you knew what this Michigan State team was going to be, and, maybe they'll run out the clock, kick the field goal, kind of milk this thing, and come away with a 10-point victory or maybe just a 3-point victory, Mel Tucker dials it up, and on a third down play, Peyton Thorne hits Jalen Naylor for like a 39-yard touchdown pass. I like the fact that they were just going for it. They weren't trying to play it safe. They were trying to win the game. So for me, that was the play because I think that play really set the tone. Don't get me wrong. Kenneth Walker III had a lot of great plays in that game, but it was the guts of that play. I'm not going to be conservative. I'm not going for the field goal. I'm going for the knockout punch, and they did. They knocked out the Canes.
There were a couple of plays there, both scoring passes to Naylor guys, where the play design was so good, and they had run plays to set that up. And you've got everybody flowing one way, and it's exactly what you would have drawn up. Graham, what do you have for us for our team of the week?
Yeah, I mean, you've got to stay with Michigan State. You don't always get to do it, but it's been a while since they've created a buzz like this, and they've earned it. I mean, they are making winning plays, blocks downfield by receivers, heady plays by the quarterback. I mean, it is a complete team. And there's, one of the things is they got their big four, right? It's your Kenneth Walker, your Peyton Thorns, and your two wideouts. But there's a lot of sweat equity on this team, too. There are a lot of guys, I think, who have been through some rough times at MSU. When you look at the Connor Haywards and how important he was, 3 catches, 49 yards, members of that offensive line. I think there's a lot of guys who have a lot invested in this program, and it's a really good mesh. You wondered how it would come together with all the transfers. It really has. This was the way they finished this game. Says a lot about this team, and I think it changes the possibilities for this season.
How much of a buzzkill, Graham, if they're upset by Nebraska?
It's a substantial buzzkill. They've got to make sure they show up and take care of business.
All right. I'll finish up here with our player of the week, or players. And first, I want to give a shout out to Lisa Byington. And she has had a breakthrough as the first female to be a play-by-play announcer for any professional team, now Milwaukee Bucks. And congratulations to her. We know her from all her work in Lansing. But I want to talk about Kenneth Walker III and what he is doing, what he has done. And when you think about Walker as running backs, guys, you think about Doak Walker. His name's all over the award, and he actually helped the Lions win 3 world championships. You think about Herschel Walker, another Heisman winner. But Kenneth Walker is making a case as one of the very best backs in the country. And there's a possibility, if he keeps this up and Michigan State keeps winning, he could be Michigan State's first invitee to the Heisman ceremony since Lorenzo in 1987. I want to thank Rico Beard, the Valenti Show with Rico, and Graham Couch of the State Journal. We'll see you next week, everyone. Have a great week.